guru is back. Marta Pirzadeh is here from the NC Healthy Start Foundation. Marta, we're going to continue our discussion on SIDS. We've talked about SIDS some on the show before. Two things we'd really like to highlight today: co-sleeping and breastfeeding.
Sure.
Two things that often go hand in hand, but maybe should not.
That's right.
Probably should not.
That's right. Not when it comes to babies. The thing about babies and breastfeeding is we know there are so many benefits to breastfeeding that have nothing to do with sleep or SIDS. But what you might not know, or some of the viewers might not know, is that breastfeeding can also reduce the risk of SIDS in half. So babies...
How is that?
Like everything with breastfeeding, we just know that breast milk has some protective factors, and we're not really sure what, but the science is very clear that breastfeeding can reduce the risk of SIDS in half for babies who are breastfed in the first year of life. And so it's really important that parents do breastfeed for so many reasons, but that's one of the other reasons, is to reduce the risk of SIDS. However, as you mentioned, lots of times what happens is mom is breastfeeding baby in bed. There's no problem with breastfeeding a baby in bed, unless you fall asleep and the baby falls asleep, and then we have a potential risk factor, a potential co-sleeping situation that could turn into rolling over on your baby, suffocating, lots of unsafe things in the adult-sized bed. And so we do recommend breastfeeding, but not co-sleeping.
Now, the two can often get intermixed because, as you said, I mean, you are going on, 45 minutes of sleep at a time here for those first couple weeks especially. I know that I was terrified of this because I had heard the stories, and I would always get out of bed, even in the middle of the night, to nurse. Now, that's not necessary, but are there any, positions we should avoid? I know that sometimes they would recommend the side nursing where you're kind of lying down and the baby's on the bed. Again, I was terrified to do that because I was afraid I would fall asleep and roll over. Are there things like that that we should avoid, or keep certain nursing positions?
Well, I think the key thing, again, obviously you're less likely to fall asleep if you're sitting up in a chair than you are if you're in bed. But sure, I mean, I think that the most important thing to remember when breastfeeding in bed is it's fine, you're awake and the baby's awake, but to have a plan. If you start to doze off, that whoever else is in your house at that time, whether it's your husband, your parent, your partner, a friend, let them know when you start to fall asleep or the baby starts to fall asleep, it's time to move him to his own safe sleep space, a separate space. A great thing that parents can do is just have a pack and play in their bedroom with them, or go ahead and put the crib in there. I know when I was a nursing mother, I had a twin bed in my baby's room, so it could go either way.
That's a great idea.
We put a twin bed in the side of the crib, then at least I could be right there sleeping, get up,
but
nurse.
you have a separate place to sleep.
That's right.
One thing we would do too is I would set an alarm to get up when I needed to nurse my son, and then I would also set an alarm to make sure that I, after however long he usually nursed, to make sure that I woke up, or not that I would fall asleep, but to make sure I was awake rather when he was done. And I love that advice. Involve your partner.
Sure.
You're the one getting up and nursing the baby, so let your husband get up and put him back to sleep.
Have a plan.
All right, good advice.
Thank you.
If you have any questions for Marta about this or anything else related to baby sleep, you can shoot them to us at mycarolinatoday@wncn.com. I'm sure you've got questions. We get lots of comments about Marta's advice all the time. Thanks for coming back.
Thanks again, Paige.